We've started reducing the surgical backlog, 3,000 surgeries a month. By this time next year, we will have completely cleared the surgical backlog because we've invested in increasing the amount of operating room time.
And we're reducing surgical wait times. We're going to be able to keep this going. And if we continue at this rate, we will have completely eliminated our surgical backlog by this time next year and be the first province in the country to do so. This is one of my top priorities. Dr. John identified there were 39,000 people waiting longer than medically necessary. Not only are we able every week to keep up with the number of surgeries needed, it's about 6,000 to 6,500, but we've also started clearing that backlog. We're now down to 30,000 people. We're clearing at a rate of 3,000 people a month. By this time next year, it will be completely eliminated, and we will be the first province in the country to do so. We are working on that surgical backlog. The number of people who were waiting longer than medically recommended was 39,000 when we began. It's about 30,000 now. We're cutting it down at a rate of 3,000 surgeries a week, and we are going to have that backlog completely cleared by this time next year, and we'll be the first province in the country to do so. There were 39,000 people who were waiting longer than medically recommended. And that has been whittled away at a rate of 3,000 surgeries per month. And by this time next year, if we continue at this rate, we'll have completely eliminated that surgical backlog, and we'll be the first province in the country to have done so. We started reducing the surgical backlog by 3,000 surgeries a month. We will have that backlog completely cleared by this time next year. And we'll be the first province in the country to do that. 39,000 people. Those are our core ones who have been on the waiting list for longer than medically necessary. That's now down to 35,000. And if we continue at this rate, we will clear our surgical backlog of those waiting longer than medically reasonable within a year. And we're reducing the surgical backlog by 3,000 surgeries a month to the point where we'll be able to completely eliminate that backlog by this time next year. At this rate, we will have cleared the surgical backlog of people waiting longer than medically recommended within 12 months. And I think we'll be the first province to be able to do that. But she is the kind of leader who will say anything to get elected. And then when she's elected, it's not worth the paper it's written on.